It is possible to grieve for someone who is still alive. This may sound confusing because we often associate grief with death. But sometimes the deep sadness you feel is not about a physical absence. It's for the relationship you wish you had with them. You might feel a profound sense of loss when you think about a parent, a sibling, or even a partner who is still in your life. The grief comes from the space between what you needed and what you received. It's the mourning for the supportive parent you deserved but never had, or the safe childhood that never was. This feeling is real, it is valid, and it has a name. It's a silent sorrow for a bond you longed for, a connection that remained just out of reach. If this sounds familiar, know that you are not alone in this experience, and your feelings are not misplaced. They are a normal response to a very real, though often invisible, kind of loss. Today, we're exploring a concept known as ambiguous loss. Coined by family therapist Dr. Pauline Boss, this term describes a loss that is unclear, confusing, and has no resolution or closure. It's the most difficult type of grief to endure because the uncertainty can freeze the grieving process. There are two main types of ambiguous loss that help us understand this experience better. The first is when a person is physically present but psychologically absent. Think of a parent who was in the house but was emotionally unavailable due to their own struggles, work, or inability to connect. They provided for your physical needs, but the emotional connection, the safety, warmth, and validation you needed was missing. You could see them, but you couldn't reach the part of them you needed most. This creates a confusing inner world for a child, and later for an adult. The second type of ambiguous loss is the reverse, a psychological presence but a physical absence. This form of grief is about mourning something you feel deeply in your mind but never had in reality. It's the yearning for an idealized family you see in movies or in your friends' homes. It's the grief for the version of a parent you hoped they would one day become. This idealized version lives vividly in your thoughts, a constant reminder of what is missing from your life. You're not grieving a person who left. You're grieving a reality that never arrived. Both types of ambiguous loss leave you in a state of limbo, wrestling with a grief that the world doesn't easily recognize. One of the most difficult parts of experiencing ambiguous loss is the problem of invalidation. Because this grief doesn't fit the traditional model of loss, society often fails to recognize it. There is no funeral to mark the loss of a safe childhood. There are no sympathy cards for the pain of having an emotionally distant parent. Friends and family may not understand your sadness, telling you that you should be grateful because your parent is still alive, or that you should just get over the past. This external invalidation can be incredibly isolating. Over time, you might even start to invalidate your own feelings, telling yourself that your pain isn't legitimate. This self-doubt compounds the original hurt, leaving you feeling profoundly alone with your sorrow. Acknowledging that your grief is real, even if others don't see it, is a crucial first step towards healing. In many cases, the most visible emotion connected to this kind of loss isn't sadness, it's anger. You might feel a simmering resentment or bursts of frustration directed at the person who failed to meet your needs. It's important to understand that this anger is often a secondary emotion. It acts as a protective shield, covering up the deep, vulnerable feelings of hurt and sadness underneath. Anger can feel more powerful than sadness. It can feel like a way to reclaim some control in a situation where you felt helpless. But while anger is a valid signal that a boundary has been crossed or a need has gone unmet, staying in a state of anger can keep you stuck. By gently looking beneath the anger, you can begin to touch the core wound, the profound sadness for the love and security you always deserved. This leads to one of the most painful yet necessary parts of the healing journey: letting go of the fantasy that the past can be changed. Many of us hold on to a sliver of hope that the person who hurt us will one day wake up, understand our pain, and become the person we always needed them to be. This hope can keep us tethered to a cycle of disappointment. Healing begins when we start the difficult process of grieving this fantasy. It means accepting the reality of what happened and what did not happen. It's the heartbreaking acknowledgement that you cannot go back and get the childhood you deserved. This acceptance is not about condoning the past. It's about releasing yourself from the hope that the past will ever be different, so that you can finally be free to build a fulfilling life in the present. Navigating this complex emotional landscape can feel overwhelming, so it can be helpful to have some gentle, safe practices to process these feelings. One such practice is writing a letter that you will never send. This is a journaling exercise designed for your eyes only. You can write a letter to your younger self, offering the comfort and validation you didn't receive back then. Acknowledge their pain, their loneliness, and their longings. Alternatively, you could write a letter to the person who was emotionally absent. In this letter, allow yourself to express everything without filter: the hurt, the anger, the sadness, the unmet needs. The purpose is not to confront them, but to give your own feelings a voice. Getting the words out of your head and onto paper can be a powerful act of release and self-validation. Another safe practice is to create a small, private ritual of acknowledgement. Because Ambiguous Loss has no public ceremonies, creating your own can provide a symbolic sense of closure. This doesn't need to be elaborate. For instance, it could be as simple as lighting a candle to honor the invisible loss you've carried. You might choose to plant something, symbolizing the new life you're cultivating for yourself. Some find it helpful to write down the losses on a piece of paper and then safely burn it, representing the act of letting go. The goal of the ritual is to create a tangible moment in time where you consciously and compassionately acknowledge your grief. This act tells your inner self that your experience was real and that it matters. It is a way of honoring your own story and taking a conscious step towards healing. There is a common myth that if you truly heal, the pain of the past will disappear completely. But healing doesn't mean the pain never existed. It means the pain no longer controls your life. It means you can look back on your experiences without being consumed by them. Think of it like this. Before healing, the unmet need for safety and love feels like a constant aching hunger. After doing the work of grieving, you learn that you can become the source of your own nourishment. You learn how to provide yourself with the safety, compassion, and validation you always deserved. The memories of the past might still be there, but they no longer define who you are today or what your future can be. For example, someone who grew up with an emotionally absent parent might spend years trying to earn that parent's approval, feeling anxious and insecure in all their relationships. After acknowledging the ambiguous loss, they can start to build their own sense of self-worth. They might learn to set boundaries and choose partners who are emotionally available. The sadness for the relationship they never had with their parent might still surface at times, but it no longer drives their decisions or undermines their happiness. They have learned to become their own anchor. The journey of grieving what you never had is not about erasing your history. It is about integrating it into your story in a way that empowers you. By acknowledging the ambiguous loss, validating your feelings, and gently letting go of the fantasy that the past could be different, you reclaim your life. You become capable of building a present and future filled with the connection and security you once longed for. The strength you gain comes from understanding that you survived that loss, and now you have the power to give yourself what you always needed. Healing is the process of becoming your own safe harbor. As we close, I'd like to leave you with a question for reflection. What is one small way you can offer yourself the kindness or support today that you needed in the past?